What is going on, everyone? Welcome once again to SHOOTWAVES. My name is Johnny, also known as SailorsSiren, and we were back. We were back in a lot of different ways. I have not been utmost honest about what happened with the channel because it was kind of like, you saw all my wrestling stuff on here. I was somewhat of a name on X and the IWC as far as like my tweets and people knowing who I was in the space, like making, videos. And I did a JB character on TikTok and I was having fun. But after a while, I started to get too burnt out on being too much on the inside of wrestling. Like watching reviewers, watching hate videos, watching grifters, watching backstage rumors and topics and politics and, just all of the things that come with the IWC. I found myself so far from the fan that I used to be. And it was hard for me to just like sit down and watch the product anymore because I was being overly critical. I was analyzing things way too closely. I was being this fan that was disguising himself as a true fan, but also watching it because I knew I would have something to say on my podcast or something to do. You know what I mean? Like I would tweet something, I'd get likes, it would get retweeted. I had several people that influenced my opinions on things. Like I couldn't think for myself, which is really sad to admit, but that's the way that a lot of fans get at some point when they start watching these podcasters and they start watching these overly opinionative personas within the IWC that don't encourage their fans to think for themselves, which is kind of sad to say, but it's the truth, because if you say a thought that they don't agree with, you're automatically casted out as far as like taking a serious opinion from them. It's just, you got to agree with what they agree with, or it's the highway, or you just sit down and watch silently and disagree to agree or agree to disagree. But the thing is, I got tired of being that way, if that makes sense. Like, I got tired of watching the product and not enjoying it because I knew that the review that I was going to watch after the show was going to be, oh, he's going to dog on this, or she's going to tear this part apart, tear this segment apart. I was so consumed by the hate that it killed my love for the business. Like, I deleted all my old ShootWaves videos because I felt like I was, in a lot of those videos, influenced by others' opinions. I didn't come up here genuinely talking as me, as Johnny Bullock. I did not come up here as a true fan. I came up here as someone who was just, okay, they didn't like this, so I don't like it either. And it killed my love. It killed my genuine reactions. It influenced my feeling about the entire company. And that goes for AEW. That goes for WWE. And then I found myself slowly trickling down to, it went for the independents. I was watching JCW. I was watching GCW. I was watching MLW. I was watching CMLL. I was watching AAA. And I don't really consider CMLL and AAA independents, but they are in a lesser role than the big two companies, which is AEW and WWE. Of course, WWE being more structured for history, I watched that product since in 2004 when I was 8 years old. So I watched, guys like Randy Orton come up and John Cena, and I was there when Eddie Guerrero passed away. I was a kid, and then 2 years later I watched the Chris Benoit tragedy, and I remember that I was a kid. I remember all of these things that really shaped me as a fan of the product. But then, like in 2021, when I quit my first job that I ever had, that was like a real job, when I quit my job to look after my daughter at home, I started watching the product like every day. And 2020 kind of started that too, because of the pandemic. We were all on lockdown, and I really enjoyed the production of WWE back then. And that year, I would start doing my first podcast, which was HXC Wrestling Talk Show. I did it with my buddy Will, who's still friends with me to this day. And, that was really what started me having an opinion of the product. And it would follow me into the next year, 2021, when I would be at home and I just watched the product every single day. And I was running hot since 2021 watching everything. And then when I'm talking about everything, I'm talking about everything. I watched every show. I watched every pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you wanted to call it. I started doing my TikTok videos being a JB persona. And I had fun at first, but then I started getting more into the hate watching. Then I started listening to podcasters that never had a positive opinion. I started watching people who would just tear companies down because of the views or the reactions. And I realized that I was starting to slowly turning into that type of content creator. So I took a step back this year. For the first time since 2021, I took a step back. Like, I said, okay, WrestleMania is the last WrestleMania I'm going to watch. I'm not going to watch next year, so I'm just going to take a step back. So from the end of April, the beginning of May, all of June, and pretty much all of the month of July, except this week, I've really been away from the company. I've not done anything as far as like engagement on X. I've just been putting up my Bible verses on my X. I've been kind of like removing myself away from the IWC side, because I realized that I was no longer a true fan, which is sad to admit because I've watched the product since I was 8 years old. And this is all I've ever wanted to do. Like, I've always wanted to be in professional wrestling, not professional wrestler. I wanted to be like commentator, backstage, doing something to help the show run. And I still want that. So I needed to step away from like my opinions from other people. And I mean, when I removed SHOOTWAVES from my channel, I never thought I would come back to this podcast. I never thought I would like be making this video, because I felt like genuinely that part of my life was done, because I was so enthralled with the hatred that it no longer became fun. So I was like, okay, Johnny, it's time to step away. It's time to just, you want WrestleMania 42 to be your last one? Okay, cool. Step away. So I did. I didn't watch the product all of May, June, July. I canceled all of my subscriptions. Peacock, Hulu, Live, which was like $90-something. It needed to be canceled anyway. HBO Max. I canceled, I think I said Netflix. I canceled Triller TV, which was where I watched my independents. And I stepped away. And I think it was like, am I really a fan anymore? Or am I just watching this because I've been doing it so long? Is it just like by habit? And I genuinely started to miss the business. I genuinely started to feel like I wanted to watch wrestling again. But it wasn't the way that I was before when I would watch the product just so I could watch the reviews from someone else afterwards. It was like, no, I want to watch wrestling. So I started going back to the Vault channel, which is one of my favorite channels on YouTube. I love the WWE Vault. Anyone that listened to the old Shootwaves episodes that still here as a subscriber, you guys know how much I love old wrestling. That was genuine. I love old wrestling. Like the territory days are still my favorite, and then after that would be, of course, the Attitude Era. But I grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era. You know, I grew up in the transition from the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression. My first pay-per-view was WrestleMania 20. And, you know, I was watching the product on and off pretty heavy for all those years. And then 2020 was just the year I kind of came back to it fully. So, you know, I missed being a fan. And I was like, I want to watch wrestling again. So I started watching the Vault. I started seeing the advertisements for SummerSlam. I started getting back into the WWE side of like analytics, not the podcasters, but I started watching the WWE, you know, reports of like what happened on the show. I started like getting little snippets on YouTube and some on TikTok and on Facebook. I was starting to kind of get those clips again. I'm like, man, this looks good. Like, I kind of want to watch it again. And I'm happy to tell you, sitting here in July 26, 2026, July 25th, I'm sorry, it's Saturday. I'm back. I'm back as a fan. I'm not back as someone who's going to let the IWC influence his opinions, but I'm back as a genuine fan of the business. SummerSlam is this weekend. I'm excited to get back into the product. I don't think I'm ever going to get back to the way that I was before as far as like watching everything, because I don't want that anymore. I just want to watch what I want to watch, and that's what I'm going to do. So, you know, when I was a kid, originally there was always big 4 pay-per-views, and people know exactly what I'm talking about who's watched the product for a long time. You had the Royal Rumble, you had WrestleMania, you had SummerSlam, and you had Survivor Series. I think now it's like up to the big 6, but back when I was a kid, it was the big 4. SummerSlam has always been a pay-per-view that even the casuals, just like WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble, would tune in to watch. So that's what I'm doing. I'm tuning back in to SummerSlam. But what really got me to kind of like, you know, put the brakes on my false hatred that was influenced by everyone else was watching this new Unreal season 3 of Unreal. You know, we were so critical on the company last year, especially me. I was very critical of the company on the podcast. That was one reason why I decided to remove them, because like I listened back to them after I would record them, and they sounded like this is someone else talking through me. Like this is someone else's opinion that I have automatically felt like is my opinion, so I need to say the same thing or something similar to it and just rework it around in my way. But I didn't find any joy in that after a time. Like when you genuinely love a company for years, and then you start to watch the product and then turn into a critic, and you're overly analytic on everything. You're analyzing every little minute detail that is not even mattering to the full picture. It's just what you would think they should say or do, or how you would want the match to go, and it didn't happen that way. To someone who's overly critical, you can actually sway yourself away from the product because they didn't do something you liked. And the entitlement that comes with that is toxic to the point where you don't enjoy the show anymore because it's not what you want. And I found myself in that mindset last year, very heavy. Like I was so opinionated on everything TKO was doing. I didn't like the ring mat. I didn't like the sponsors on the ring mat. I didn't like the commercials during pay-per-views, PLEs. I didn't like ESPN coming into the picture. I did not like any of it. I was so done that it started to literally influence the way that I watched the product. So I knew after this WrestleMania in Vegas, second time around, I needed to step away. So I did. Because I wanted to see, again, if I really enjoyed the product like I said I did, or if I was just a creature of habit and I was just doing what I always did because I felt like that's the only thing I could do. But no, I generally missed the product, and I watched Unreal again, and I just remember thinking, these men and women put their bodies on the line for us. They put their lives on the line, and we are so overly critical. And we even have people critical on Unreal, which is insane. But there's people critical about a documentary series that is probably kayfabe, to be real with you. It's probably not even shoot. Like I don't think half of the stuff that's in Unreal that's a shoot. I think the personal stories and all that stuff's real, of course, but I'm talking about like some of the backstage antics and the trajectory of storylines. I think that a lot of that's played out for the show, which is fine because you don't want to see exactly how the hot dog's made. I just know that there's a lot of people that have swayed themselves away from the product because of other people's opinions. And I felt like it was time to just come up here and air it out and to let everyone know it's okay to enjoy things that other people don't. Okay? It's okay. If no one's ever told you that in life, let me be the first one to tell you. People's opinions are their opinions. People's hatred is their hatred. You don't have to listen to every podcaster. You don't have to go read every dirt sheet. You don't have to go out of your way to watch everything. Just be a fan. Be a genuine fan again. I think it's time that we get back to that because I think we would enjoy the product a lot more if we're just fans again. Like, I go back to the days of me being a kid and drawing up stages and designing stages on pieces of paper and drawing them out and just being so enthralled with this thing that we know is sports entertainment / professional wrestling. And to this day, I still want to work in the company. I still want to work in wrestling. I thought that I didn't, but that was because I let so much hatred get to me. But I want to work in the business. I don't want to be a wrestler. I just want to work backstage. I want to help design things. I want to help do things. I want to help the show run. I love the psychology of this business. And I got so enthralled with the hatred from other people. I became someone different. I became someone different watching the company. I missed it, man. I really, truly did. And when I watched Unreal, I had tears in my eyes because I realized how much they went through to try to give us a good show last year, and we were so critical on everything. And it kind of makes you think maybe this wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but he didn't like it, so I didn't like it. Or she didn't like it, so I didn't like it. Man, I just miss being a fan. Is that crazy to say? Like seeing the wrestlers backstage reacting to certain spots and matches and how they would pop. Like you realize that yes, wrestlers are the biggest marks out there. And that's love for the business. That's love that I have. It started to go away last year because I was so consumed by everyone else's opinion. But genuinely, at the end of the day, that's who I am. I'm a fan. I'm a mark. I love this business. I've watched it since 2004. That kind of love don't go away. It don't. Like when you fall for something, like the Rocky War of professional wrestling, man, you fall for it. You have your breakups, you have your makeups, you have your time away, you have your whatever, but you're still in love with the product and you want to always go back to it. And I love this business. I love Jesus Christ forcefully, but I love this business also. And I took that time away, and I got so mourningful, if that makes any sense. Like, I started to mourn wrestling, which is crazy to say because it was always there. I just felt like it wasn't because of everyone else's opinion. And it started to really like influence everything I was thinking. I would watch a PLE, pay-per-view, paying all this money for these subscription services, and I'd walk away empty. Like, WrestleMania week was the last genuine fun time I had with wrestling in a long time, and I mean a long time. And I was watching the independents. I had GCW on. I was watching live streamers that were walking through the streets of Las Vegas, and they were catching little independent wrestling shows. I was watching micro wrestling from the talented wrestlers in the independent circuit that focuses on micro wrestling. I was watching everything that was wrestling that week, and I was having a ball. Watching the GCW Collective, watching JCW, all of the companies that were flying out for Vegas. Man, I had so much fun. I really did. And I knew after that week it was like, okay, I think that was like my goodbye party for wrestling. And I can't tell you how wrong I was. But see, I was so subjective to opinions. I felt like, yeah, I truly believed in half of the hate, but I didn't. I was just watching shows and getting influenced by influencers. So I decided to remove all the SHOOTWAVES videos. I removed my JB videos on TikTok, which there was other reasons I did that too. Because I use TikTok to evangelize, because I'm a Christian. You guys probably could tell by my videos I've been posting up on my music. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute too. But this Saturday, I'm coming back to the product. I'm watching SummerSlam. I'm watching Monday Night Raw for the first time in 2 months. I'm watching the Go Home episode. I'm excited because I'm not watching it as someone who's going to run to a podcast afterwards. I'm watching it as a genuine fan, and I'm so excited to just watch the company again. I miss it. I miss the lights. I miss the crowd. I miss the theatrics. I miss the spectacle. And I felt like it was just time for me to return after being away for only 2 months. But to someone who's watched wrestling like I did every day, man, that's a lifetime for me. Being away for just only 2 months, when you watch the business as much as I did, that's like a lifetime. So I'm excited to get back to just the fun professional wrestling fandom. Not the IWC. I'm tired and done with the IWC. I've got a lot of people on my X still that are involved in that space. God bless them. But once they start talking hatred, I just kind of tune them out, man. I really do. Because I realize that not everyone is going to like what everyone likes. Shocker, I know. But everyone's different. Everyone has different opinions. Everyone looks at wrestling different. Some people look at wrestling like AEW, where it's like kickouts after kickouts and, like an anime fight. Some people look at wrestling like WWE does, where it's like strategic placement of moves and timing and theatrics and psychology and all these things. I'm not saying all that doesn't happen in AEW, but it's a lot more, I would say, grounded in WWE when it comes to like the kickouts and what does a near fall really mean in that company versus AEW. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we have to realize that the business does evolve at some point. AEW is on a whole different trajectory on where they think wrestling is going, which is fine, because so was ECW. I mean, look at Paul Heyman. Look at what he did. Yeah, and I'm about to drop some wrestling knowledge on y'all. Look at Paul Heyman. Look at what he did with ECW. And, eventually that would start to go over into WWF. World Wrestling Federation didn't have a lot of weapons at one time. We didn't have all these crazy gimmick matches, what we like to call them now. ECW gave birth to what we would really know as the Attitude Era. So Paul Heyman gets his flowers a lot for ECW, but I don't think he really truly gets his flowers for what he did for the Attitude Era. So who knows? AEW may be this forerunner for what wrestling will become on WWE one day. We'll have to wait and see. We've got people that can do it. I mean, Javon Evans, Ethan Page. Ethan Page was in AEW. Ricky Saints, he was in AEW. Ricky Starks in AEW, of course. So Cody Rhodes, of course, is like the top face in the company. CM Punk, top face in the company. Guys, these were independent talents at one point. They were all on the indies. Cody kind of got his start because of Dusty. There's nothing wrong with that. But Punk was in ROH, Ring of Honor. He was busting his butt on what was the promotion that Rotten headed up? Was it Mid-South? I can't remember if it was Mid-South. It was the one that was Kentucky based. But I know that was when CM Punk wrestled for them for a little bit. So he's been on the independents for a long time. Ethan Page the same way. Ethan Page was with Defy and Progress. I think he went through Evolve at some point, the old Evolve. The one where Keith Lee and Darby Allin and all them guys were in. Drew Galloway, Drew McIntyre. So, like, you guys can see how much I love this business. I know a lot about it. But, I'm at the point now where I just want to be a fan again. I love having the knowledge that I have because I hope one day that leads me to the doors of working for one of these companies. But for right now, I'm going to be a fan. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do what a lot of people should do right now and just not be so overly critical. And I'm going to watch the product. And I'm going to have fun with it. And I'm enjoying it. So there's that. So before we get out of here, I did want to talk about what's going on with the channel, what SailorsSiren is as far as the content you're seeing that's been posted up. Back in February, I wrote an album that would later known as Wellbound, which is on the channel now. It's the exclusive album to YouTube. It's not, I don't think I'm ever going to put it on Spotify like I did Proving Grounds. Like Proving Grounds is live right now on Spotify. You guys can go look up SailorsSiren on Spotify. You can look at Proving Grounds. It's 12 songs long. And I'm working on my second album, which is going to be coming out hopefully in October. And I'm finalizing all the music with it as far as like writing the lyrics, because I don't know if you guys have read the biography for my page, but I do use AI to make my music. I write all my lyrics, but I do use AI to make the music because I don't have a band. I'm a one-man show as far as like everything you've seen on this show before. Breaking the fourth wall here, but if you guys remember my old videos back when it was like the 2K24, I think it was 2K24 back then, maybe 2K23, that dual commentary, yeah, that was me. I was JB and I was also Eric Steele. So I played both of those characters in that video. I'm a one-man show. I don't have any help making these videos. I don't have a channel producer, manager, whatever you want to call it. I don't have an editor. I make everything. I record everything. I edit everything, and I do what I want to do. So I'm a Christian. Everyone knows that based on my music. So I evangelize through music, and Proving Grounds was one of the albums that I wanted to really put on Spotify so it could get more ears. Went through DistroKid, had a great time with that experience, and realized that I have people in Canada listening to this music, which is amazing because, wow, I didn't think it would get out of the U.S., but it did. So United States is listening, and then I got Canada listening. I'm just so blessed, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to write music like I can, and not only rely on my TikTok page, because I also make TikTok videos where I evangelize and I read Bible verses and things like that, but I'm not the type that goes up there every single day and makes a video. I'm just not that type of creator. I really go when the Holy Spirit speaks to me. So that's what I did. I just kind of wanted to make videos on TikTok, but then I realized that there was a lot that I wanted to say that I couldn't fit into a video. So I was like, let's start writing music. Let's start writing songs. Let's start preaching through music. So I started taking Bible verses and incorporating them with like some lyrics and some themes of the songs. And I'm so happy with the way things have came out. Wellbound was a lot of people's first introduction into my songwriting. I was posting secular music before. If you've been on the channel for a while, you guys know that I've posted some, excuse me, I've posted a lot of videos and I've removed a lot of videos. But there was a reason why. It was time to just get away from that type of songwriting. I did the Neon City stuff, and it was fun to do. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say and lie that I didn't, but it just was secular to where I wanted to go. I wanted to make music that glorified God. So I removed my Helldivers stuff. I actually quit playing Helldivers. I don't even play that game anymore. And I don't know, I got away from a lot of stuff that was starting to consume my time. And wrestling wasn't one of those things because I didn't really watch the product back when I was writing my music. I just didn't. I was so checked out by that time. I think by the time WrestleMania came around and I had that last good week of just watching WrestleMania week and looking at the independents, I knew that was like my swan song. So I was, fully prepared to walk away and step away. So I cut off a lot of like just background noise, I like to call it. But now that I'm like wanting to get back into watching the company as a fan, I'm excited because I'm not going to be that immersed in it. Like I'm not going to be so, I got to watch this night. I got to watch this night. We got to be at home. God bless my wife. We used to have to rush all kinds of things because I was wanting to watch this wrestling show that was coming on. And I just realized that I was taking so much time away from not only my family, but also just me. I was taking time away from me. And, when you get like that, it's time to step back and to like really reevaluate what you're doing, So that's when the music started to kind of take up and I wanted to start writing music again. And, thank God for AI as far as making music, because I have the talent for vocals and like I can do harsh vocals. I can do clean vocals. I can do all that stuff. I just don't have a band. I don't have anyone that can play an instrument. I cannot play guitar. I cannot play drums. I cannot play the bass. I cannot do half of what that AI stuff can do when it comes to making the sounds of the music. But I can do the vocals and I can do the lyrics and I can do all that stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to see where that takes me in the future. Maybe I get a band and maybe SailorsSiren becomes a real band at some point. And maybe, we can go to churches and preach and evangelize and talk to these kids that need Jesus, and we can bring them out of this, whatever dark place they're in. Like, I only pray for opportunities so I can spread the gospel. So, if you are looking for a Christian-based content creator that is also a wrestling fan, hello, I hope that you get something out of these videos. I hope that if anything, I give you peace of mind to understand that no matter what you watch or you like, I'm not the same guy as I used to be when I used to talk down about AEW, or I used to talk down about WWE, or I didn't take TNA serious, or I was so caught up in everyone else's hatred and opinions. It started to become me, and it's just not cool. It's not cool to think that way, guys. Like, we gotta think for ourselves. In this day and age, we gotta think for ourselves. If it makes you happy, it makes you happy. If it doesn't, don't watch it. It's really simple. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this SHOOTWAVES. I know I went for a long time, but I felt like it was time to come back and do another one of these videos and to, kind of break the silence on what's been going on with the channel, explaining the album, explaining the constant music that you guys were getting there for about 2 months ago, and explaining kind of where I'm at right now with my next album, which I think I don't know if did I mention it? I don't think I did. Homecoming is the next album that's coming out. It's going to be released on Spotify. If I have not said it before, if I did, I apologize. October 7th is when I'm planning on releasing it. So just excited to have another album out under the SailorsSiren name. And if you guys are interested, again, I'm going to shameless plug. Proving Grounds is live right now on Spotify. You guys can go look it up. It is 12 songs long. There is 10 songs that are just heavy. I got some punk, I got some heavy metal, I got some metalcore, and then the last 2 songs are just praise and worship. I just wanted to worship my Savior and just write beautiful music for him. So I got praise and worship at the back end of the last 2 songs, and I'm excited to see where the next album goes. I'm planning on 20 songs. 20 songs is the plan. I'm at 15 right now, so I've got 5 to go. And I'm excited for you guys to hear that. If you are interested in the videos, if you're interested in my channel, if you've maybe subscribed to me because of the music, thank you. And I look forward to having more music heard and released. And then also, I'm looking forward to being back as a wrestling fan and coming in every now and then and making a little SHOOTWAVES video and just talking about wrestling. That's really what I want to do with this channel, is just talk about wrestling sometimes too. So there's always that. Like, you hear me, and then you also hear like me as a fan of something that I really enjoy, which is wrestling. So I hope you guys have a good day. God bless everyone. Have a good Sunday. Tomorrow is Sunday. Hope everyone stays safe. Monday Night Raw is Monday. Go home episode before SummerSlam. SummerSlam Saturday and Sunday. Looking forward to it. Very, very excited. So, big week for professional wrestling. Big week for just me going back and being a fan again. I'm excited. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Have a good day.